dear learner, I welcome you all to the MOOC on Principle of Electrical Sciences. I am Dr. Sanjay Agrawal, Associate Professor in Electrical Engineering, School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. So in previous session we have discussed type of DC generator like separately excited DC generator, and under self-excited DC generator we have discussed series bound, shunt bound and compound bound generator, and we have also discussed voltage buildup in shunt generator. In this session we would discuss causes of the failure to build up voltage in a generator, and then we will discuss working principle of DC motor, torque equation of DC motor, and importance of the back EMF and speed equation of the DC motor. So first of all we have to discuss what are the causes of the failure to build up voltage in a generator. There may be one or more of the following reason due to which a generator fails to build up the voltage. First reason may be when the residual magnetism in the field system is destroyed. Second, when the connection of the field winding are reversed, this in fact destroys the residual magnetism due to which generator fails to build up the voltage. Third reason, in case of shunt bound generator, the other causes may be, first is the resistance of the shunt field circuit may be more than critical resistance. Second cause, the resistance of the load circuit may be less than critical resistance. Third cause may be the speed of rotation may be below the rated speed. In case of series bound generator, the other causes may be, first, the load circuit may be open. It may be due to faulty contact between brushes and commutator, or commutator surface may be greasy or dirty and making no contact with the brushes. Another reason may be the load circuit may have high resistance. Now we are going to discuss working principle of DC motor. The DC motor is the device which converts the direct current into mechanical work. It works on the principle of Lorentz law, which states that the current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field experience a force. The experienced force is called the Lorentz force. The direction of this force is determined by Fleming left hand rule, and its magnitude is given by this formula, that is F equal to BIL, and it is measured in Newton, where this B is the magnetic field strength which is measured in Tesla or Weber per meter square, and I is the current flowing through conductor in ampere, and L is the length of the conductor in meter. So before going to discuss in detail the working principle of DC motor, first of all we have to understand Fleming left hand rule. If the thumb, middle finger and the index finger of the left hand rule are displaced from each other by an angle of 90 degree, the middle finger represents the direction of the magnetic field, the index finger represents the direction of the current, and the thumb shows the direction of the forces acting on the conductor. Now we are going to discuss the working principle of DC motor. So for simplicity, consider only one coil of the armature placed in a magnetic field produced by a two-pole machine. Here you can see in the figure. So here you can see that because two-pole motor is considered which have two poles, that is north pole and south pole, and this middle line is showing the MNA, that is magnetic neutral axis, and there is a one conductor has been considered here, you can notice. So due to this north pole and south pole, that magnetic flux of line has been shown here, which is from direction of this magnetic flux line are from north to south. Now when DC supply is connected to the coil, current flows through it that set up its own field as shown in figure. So here you can see, because one conductor has been considered, so here you can see that in conductor on left hand side, which is near to the north pole, the current in the conductor is from outside So here you can see, you can apply the current screw rule, then you can find the direction of the flux. And similarly, the conductor which is close to the south pole, it is direction of the current is inwards. So again, if you want to calculate the direction of the flux, then you can apply the screw rule and you can find the direction of the flux. By the interaction of the two fields, that is field produced by the main poles and the coil, a resultant field is set up as shown in the figure. The tendency of this is to come to its original position, that is in a straight line, due to which force is exerted on two coil side and torque is produced. This torque rotates the coil. Here you can see the working of this motor in this figure, where this conductor is moving with the angular speed omega, and this one force is exerted on towards north pole to the upward, and the force is exerted in conductor which is close to the south pole in downward direction. And this direction of force can be measured with help of the left hand rule. So here you can see that if this finger is the direction of the magnetic flux, here you can see it is from north to south pole, and this index finger is showing the direction of the current. So this thumb is showing the direction of the flux towards the north pole. If you want to see the direction of the force in the conductor which is close to the south pole, so again you can apply the left hand rule, because direction of the flux is the same. That means flux is from north to south, but direction of the current is changing. Now current you can apply like this. So this finger is showing the direction of the magnetic field, and this finger is showing the direction of the current. So this thumb will show the direction of the force on the conductor. Alternatively, it can be said that main poles produce a field that is F suffix m. Its direction is marked in figure. When current is supplied to the coil, that is a armature conductor, it produces its own field marked as Fr. This field tries to come in line with the main field, and an electromagnetic torque is developed in the clockwise direction. In the actual machine, a large number of conductors are placed on the armature. All the conductors placed under the influence of one pole, you can say north pole, carry the current in one direction, that is outward, while the other conductor placed under the influence of the other pole, that is toward the south pole, carry the current in opposite direction. Here you can see the direction of the current in the given figure. As a resultant, rotor field is produced. Its direction is marked by the arrowhead, that is Fr. This rotor field Fr tries to come in line with the main field, that is F suffix m, and that one torque, that is T suffix E, is developed. So rotor start to rotate. It can be seen that to obtain a continuous torque, the direction of flow of current in each conductor or coil side must be reversed when it passes through the magnetic neutral axis. This is achieved with the help of the commutator. Now we are going to discuss the importance of the back EMF. So here you can see in the figure that this armature having a resistance Ra and terminal voltage V, and current is load current IL, armature current is IA. So when armature of a DC rotor rotates, an EMF is induced in the armature conductor, that is known as back EMF, which opposes the applied voltage. So this value, or you can say magnitude of this back EMF. So magnitude of this back EMF can be calculated by following formula, that is EV is equal to phi Z N P upon 60A, where phi is a flux per pole, Z is the number of armature conductor, N is the speed of the armature rotor, and P is the number of poles, and A is the parallel path. And this parallel path depends on the type of the field binding, whether it is a field wave binding or lap binding. If it is a lap binding, then A equal to P. If it is a wave binding, then A equal to 2. So if armature having a resistance Ra, then you can write the expression for the terminal voltage V equal to EB plus IA RA. So you can write IA equal to what? IA can be written as V minus EB upon RA, where IA is a armature current and V is a applied voltage, EB is a back EMF and RA is a armature resistance. When mechanical load applied on the motor increases, its speed decreases. That reduces the value of EB, that is back EMF. As a result, the value of V minus EB increases, that increases armature current, that is IA. Hence, motor draws extra current from the mains. So, the back EMF regulates the input power as per the extra load. Back EMF makes a DC motor self-regulating. When speed is low, then back EMF will less and armature current will be large. Now we are going to discuss torque equation of a DC motor. So just you assume that TE is the electromagnetic torque developed and it is measured in Newton meter, and N is the motor speed which is denoted in RPS, and power developed by motor is equal to what? Power developed by motor is nothing but it is a work done per second, and this work done per second can be written as product of torque multiplied by angular velocity, and this angular velocity omega can be written as 2 pi n. So power developed by motor is equal to what? TE multiplied by 2 pi n, and this power developed by motor is measured in watt. Now electrical equivalent of mechanical power developed by the armature can be written as back EMF multiplied by armature current. So back EMF is denoted by E suffix B and armature current is denoted by IA. So here you can write power developed by motor is equal to the electrical equivalent of mechanical power developed by armature. So you can write this TE into 2 pi n is equal to EB into IA. So this TE can be written as EB into IA upon 2 pi n, because this small n is in RPS, that means revolution per second. If you want to convert this RPS in RPM, so what you can write, this small n can be written as capital N upon 60. So this torque TE can be written as EB into IA upon 2 pi multiplied by capital N upon 60. So what is the value of this EB? This EB is nothing but it is P phi N Z upon 60A. So just you put the value of EB in expression of the torque, that means TE is equal to EB into IA upon 2 pi N upon 60. So put the value of EB here. So T is equal to what? P phi N Z upon 60A multiplied by IA upon 2 pi N upon 60. So this N will be cancelled out, this 60 will be cancelled out. So this value of torque TE can be written as P phi Z IA upon 2 pi A, and this torque is measured in Newton meter. So final expression for the torque is equal to what? TE equal to P phi Z IA upon 2 pi A, where P is the number of poles, phi is flux per pole, Z is a number of armature conductor, IA is a armature conductor, and A is a number of parallel path. If you replace all the value, then this torque TE can also be written as T equal to K into phi into IA, where K is what? K is nothing but K is equal to Pz upon 2 pi A. So you can say this torque developed in armature is directly proportional to flux multiplied by armature current. That means this torque depends on two values, that is flux per pole and armature current. So we can conclude that torque produced in the armature is directly proportional to flux per pole and armature current. Moreover, the direction of electromagnetic torque developed in armature depends upon the direction of the flux or magnetic field and the direction of flow of current in armature conductor. If either of two is reversed, the direction of the torque produced is reversed, and hence the direction of the rotation. However, when both are reversed, the direction of the torque does not change. Now we are going to discuss speed equation of DC motor. So as you know, the back EMF of armature can be written as EB equal to P phi Zn upon 60A, where P is what? P is a number of poles, pi is flux per pole, Z is a number of armature conductor, N is speed of armature in RPM, A is parallel paths. So by this formula you can also write N is equal to what? N is equal to EB into 60A upon P phi Z. Since P, that is number of poles, Z armature conductor, and A number of parallel path are constant for any machine, then you can write N is directly proportional to EB upon phi, or you can say speed of DC motor is directly proportional to back EMF and speed of motor is inversely proportional to the flux per pole of the motor. So you can write N is equal to V minus IARA upon phi. So for a shunt motor, this phi is a constant. That means you can write speed of motor is directly proportional to back EMF, that is EB. Or you can say EB is equal to what? B minus IARA. So you can say speed of DC motor is directly proportional to B minus IARA. Now for a series motor, this phi is proportional to the armature current, that is IA. So you can write speed of motor is directly proportional to EB upon IA, because phi is directly proportional to IA in case of series motor. Now we can also calculate the percentage speed regulation. So formula for percentage speed regulation is N naught minus NF upon NF multiplied by 100. Where this N naught is what? N naught is a speed at no load in RPM and NF is the speed at full load in RPM. So by this formula you can calculate the percentage speed regulation. Now we are going to discuss power equation of DC motor. So the voltage equation of motor can be written as V equal to what? V equal to EB plus IARA, where EB is back EMF, IA is a armature current, RA is a armature resistance, B is a terminal voltage. Now you multiply it by armature current IA, both the side of this equation on left hand side and right hand side. So when you multiply it by IA in this equation, so you can write V into IA is equal to EB into IA plus IA square RA. So you can write EB into IA is equal to VIA minus IA square RA. So if you writing EB into IA, so this EB is equal to IA is equal to what? It is basically, you can write power of the motor, that is PM. So this PM is equal to what? EB into IA. So this EB into IA can be replaced by PM. So this P suffix M is equal to what? B into IA minus IA square into RA. Now because you want to calculate the condition for the maximum power, so if you want to calculate the relation for the maximum power, so here which quantity is varying? The varying quantity is the armature current. So just you differentiate this equation with respect to armature current IA. So you can write this dPm upon dIA is equal to what? B minus 2IA RA, because if you are differentiating V into IA, so differentiation of IA is 1, and if you are differentiating IA square RA, that means differentiation of IA square is what? 2IA and multiplied by RA. So after the differentiation you can write the final expression dPm upon dIA is equal to B minus 2IA into RA. So for maximum power output is equal to what? This dPm upon dIA is equal to 0. So you can write this V equal to what? 2 into IA into RA. Now you put this IA into RA is equal to V minus EV. So when you put the value of this IA RA is equal to V minus EV in this equation, so you can write V equal to what? V equal to 2 multiplied by V minus EV. So after the solving, what you are able to find, that means EV is equal to V by 2, where this EV is what? EV is the back EMF and V is the terminal voltage. So in any motor, mechanical power developed in armature is maximum when back EMF is half of the applied voltage. Now we are going to discuss example. A 4-pole DC motor has wave-bound armature with 594 conductors. The armature current is 40 ampere and flux per pole is 7.5 milliweber. You have to calculate the horsepower of the motor when running at 1440 RPM. So from the given question, just you extract what parameter are given. So your parameter given are poles, that is P equal to 4. So number of poles are what? That is 4. Number of armature conductor are given 594. So Z equal to 594. Value of armature current is what? That is 40 ampere. So IA is equal to 40 ampere. Flux is given 7.5 milliweber. So phi is equal to 7.5 milliweber. It can also be written as phi equal to 7.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 Weber. And speed is given 1440 RPM. So as you know, what is the formula of torque developed by DC motor? So formula for the DC motor T is equal to what? P phi Z IA upon 2 pi A, where P is a poles, phi is flux per pole, Z is a armature conductor, IA is a armature conductor, and A is parallel path. Now you put all the value in this equation. So just put P equal to 4, phi equal to 7.5 into 10 to the power minus 3, Z equal to 594, and IA equal to 40, and A equal to 2, because it is a bound armature. So after the putting all the value and after the solving, you get the value of torque T equal to 56.72 Newton meter. Now you have to calculate the power developed. So power developed is equal to what? Torque multiplied by angular velocity. And what is the value of this torque? Value of this torque is 56.72 Newton. So power developed is equal to T omega, and this omega can be written as 2 pi multiplied by capital N upon 60, where N is speed of the motor in RPM. Now because you have to calculate the horsepower of the motor. So horsepower of motor can be written as power developed divided by 735.5. So power developed is what? That is T multiplied by 2 pi into N upon 60, and you are dividing by 735.5. So horsepower of motor is equal to 2 pi N multiplied by T upon 735.5 into 60. So just you put the value of all the parameter in this expression. So horsepower of motor is equal to 2 into 3.14 multiplied by 56.72 multiplied by 1440 divided by 735.5 multiplied by 60. And after the solving, you get the horsepower of motor is equal to 11.63. So dear learner, in today's session we discussed what are the causes of the failure to build up voltage in generator, and we have also discussed working principle of DC motor, and we have also discussed torque equation of the DC motor and importance of the back EMF. So what is the working principle of DC motor? When current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences some force, and this direction of this force can be checked with help of the Fleming left hand rule. So we have also discussed how to apply the Fleming left hand rule to find out the direction of the DC motor. Hope you are able to learn all the concept. In the next session, we would discuss characteristic and applications of the DC motor. Thank you very much.